Incredible millionaire discovers little girl begging in garbage reveals a heartwarming life-changing moment. Jack Thompson had it all: the penthouse office with a skyline view, a fleet of luxury cars, and a bank account that could drown the dreams of 1,000 average Americans. But as the sun peeked through the clouds that Friday afternoon, he took a step back from his prized accomplishments and found himself drowning in silence. The accolades that crowded the walls of his office felt more like chains than decorations. He glanced at the framed pictures of his family, smiling faces gathered around a dinner table, laughter echoing in the background, memories of simpler times that now felt out of reach. It was in that moment of reflection that he decided to take a stroll through the bustling downtown park in Chicago, a place where the vibrancy of life surged with each rhythm of laughter, buskers, and vibrant street vendors. As the familiar sights washed over him, he caught a glimpse of something that sent a jolt through his chest. There, in the corner, a little girl named Lily was digging through a trash bin, her tiny hands flinging aside scraps, searching for something, anything. Jack's heart faltered. She couldn't have been older than 8. Disheveled hair framed a dirt-smudged face, and oversized clothes hung loosely on her small frame. He recalled nights spent with his own sister, enjoying homemade pizza and sharing dreams beneath a warm blanket. What had this girl done to find herself here, rummaging through trash in search of scraps? Lily's story spilled forth as she shared, in broken whispers, the heavy burden of her life. A single mother struggling to keep their cramped apartment from fading into the shadows. Jack felt guilt lap at his feet like an angry tide. How could he, with all his wealth, live in a world so starkly different from the one this little girl inhabited? That evening, Jack sat by the window in his high-rise, thoughts swirling like a perfect storm. He would host a fundraiser, yes, raise awareness and support for families like Lily's. Excitement bubbled within him, a flicker of light in what had become a dim existence. But as the plans unfolded, a dark cloud loomed. Whispers grew into shouts. People accused him of being performative, out of touch, a millionaire trying to buy sympathy. A bitter public showdown erupted, one that left Jack questioning everything he once believed made a person successful. Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. Despite the chaos around him, Jack found solace in his bond with Lily. Each encounter began to fill the hollow spaces in his heart, drawing him into her world of sacrifice and resilience. The stories she shared shaped his understanding of privilege, challenging everything he thought he knew. But as Jack prepared for a second event, desperation hung thick in the air. A local figure emerged, labeled him a fraud, and the community became a fractured reflection of Jack's own internal battles. The tension built, trapping his heart in a vice. Could he prove that not all millionaires were out of touch? Would he risk everything to uplift those who needed it? With a tight chest and tears hovering at the edges, he faced the mirror of his reality. The stakes had never been higher, and in that fractured moment, the greatest question loomed: could one man's journey toward redemption illuminate the path for an entire community? The sun rose the next morning, casting its warm glow over the bustling city, yet Jack felt a chill as he sat at his kitchen table. The remnants of last night's confrontation played back in his mind like a broken record. Accusations and doubt filled his ears. Could he really make a difference? Surrounded by silence, he pondered Lily's hopeful smile even amidst her struggles. It flickered like a candle in a storm. He couldn't extinguish that light. He needed to act, not just for her, but for every child like her. With renewed determination, Jack pulled out his phone and began drafting a message. It was time to change the narrative. "I'm no fraud," he typed, feeling each word weigh heavily as if they carried the weight of every doubter's skepticism. He shared his plans for a new fundraiser, an event not merely about charity, but about community strength and connection. He wanted to show that wealth and compassion could walk hand in hand. That evening, Jack stood in front of a small gathering at a local community center. The room, filled with skepticism and a touch of curiosity, buzzed as he introduced himself. "I'm a millionaire," he began, his voice steady despite the anxiety thrumming in his chest. "But it's not just about my wealth, it's about how we can share it to uplift each other." Lily was nestled in the back, peeking shyly over the heads of adults. Jack's eyes caught hers, and something shifted in his heart. With every eye watching him, he opened his heart and shared his vulnerabilities. How he felt lost in his riches, how witnessing the struggle of a child had cracked open his carefully constructed armor. He didn't want to be a distant figure, he wanted to be part of the solution. The crowd listened, and murmurs filled the space. Were they starting to believe him? By the end of his talk, a spark of hope ignited. He invited those present to join him in a partnership, planning the fundraiser together. It was an open call for ideas, a chance for the community to shape the efforts with him. As the room shifted from skepticism to teamwork, ideas began to flow: food drives, workshops, mentorship programs, and even art shows. Jack felt a rush of energy. Lily's smile in the back transformed into a wide grin, and it lit up the entire space. They began to form a plan. People who had once doubted him started to step forward, sharing their voices and experiences. Jack felt something shift deep within. The chatter morphed into laughter, unity, and purpose. The weight of doubt lifted, and for the first time, he felt free. Yet, beneath the excitement lay an undercurrent of anxiety. Would they stick together when the time came to actually execute the plans? Jack knew words could create hope, but action was a different beast. And what if the negativity returned, twisting their efforts into skepticism once again? The doubt lingered, but he couldn't let it cloud the moment. "Together, we can do this," he declared, looking at each face in the room, their emotions reflecting a mix of hope and uncertainty. But as the night wore on, he couldn't shake the feeling that the biggest challenge was still ahead. With the city abuzz with anticipation and plans unfolding, would his heartfelt efforts be enough to bridge the chasm between his world and Lily's? As he looked at her once more, he knew he had something worth fighting for. Would this journey truly forge a connection that could melt away the barriers of wealth? Only time would tell, as he prepared to step into the unknown. Jack woke up the next morning to the sound of his alarm blaring, its shrillness cutting through the remnants of last night's energy. He had barely slept, his mind racing with thoughts of the fundraiser. Excitement surged through his veins, but it was laced with uncertainty. Would people really rally behind his idea, or would it all fall apart? With a determined nod, he rolled out of bed and began preparing for the day. One way or another, he understood that today was pivotal. He quickly showered and dressed, choosing a simple blue shirt, something optimistic yet approachable. He arrived at the community center, ready to meet with a small committee formed from the previous night. They were fellow locals, motivated to help breathe life into his vision. The air buzzed with a sense of purpose. Jack felt it too. As he entered the room, he saw familiar faces, animated and filled with ideas. "Good morning, everyone," he greeted, a smile spreading across his face. "I can't express how grateful I am for all of you being here. Let us harness this energy." They kicked off the meeting with brainstorming sessions. People tossed ideas back and forth like a lively game of catch. As Jack listened, each suggestion sparked something within him: a food festival, craft fairs, even a talent show. Each idea was a thread in the fabric of community, each one a chance to connect. Suddenly, one of the committee members, Janet, raised her hand. "What about a kids' art exhibition featuring local talent? Let the children express themselves. It could bring in families and showcase their creativity." Jack leaned forward, his heart racing with enthusiasm. "That's brilliant! A way for the kids to shine. We can set up a day where kids can display their artwork and have families vote on their favorites. The winners could receive scholarships." Applause erupted around him. Inspiration flowed like a river, ideas intertwining and evolving. Yet the faintest glitch of doubt whispered in Jack's mind. Would it be enough to truly change lives? Later, as they wrapped up, Jack took a moment to step outside. He needed fresh air. The sunlight hit his face, warming him, but a shadow loomed in his heart. What if the plans fell flat? Could he bear letting down Lily and those counting on him? In that moment of solitude, he spotted Lily. She was sitting on a nearby park bench, doodling with a handful of colored pencils. Jack's heart softened seeing her absorbed in her art, her small frame a striking contrast to the chaotic world around. He approached her slowly, crouching down to her level. "Hey, Lily! What are you drawing?" Her eyes lit up as she showed him a vibrant picture of a blooming flower, a symbol of hope. "I want to paint the whole world bright, just like this," she exclaimed, looking up at him with such sincerity that it nearly took his breath away. Jack felt a warmth spread through him. "You will, you know. You'll inspire a lot of people." Lily beamed, her excitement palpable. "Will you come to my art show? You'll help, right?" "Yes, of course. I'll be there," he promised, a renewed vigor filling him, the weight of his doubts lifting, if only for a moment. As he walked away, Jack knew this was more than raising funds. It was about belief in a community, in dreams, in each other. The doubt still lingered, a storm brewing at the edges, but he couldn't let it invade the promise unfolding before him. He turned back and glanced at Lily, the girl whose art had reclaimed hope in his heart. He felt something shift. What if, just what if, belief alone was enough to overcome even the most towering obstacles? His phone buzzed, pulling him from his thoughts. A message flashed on the screen. Someone within the group had an urgent question about the venue. As he opened it, a sense of urgency gripped him. What else could possibly go wrong? Jack's pulse quickened as he read the message. The venue wasn't just a location, it was the heartbeat of the fundraiser. He had put so much effort into securing it. If there were issues, everything could crumble. He swiped the screen to read the details, but the words blurred as the thoughts of failure loomed large. Taking a deep breath, he steeled himself. "Okay, you can do this," he whispered, his voice almost lost to the breeze. Just then, his phone buzzed again, this time with a call. It was Margaret, the event coordinator. "Jack." Her voice rang through, filled with anxiety. "We've hit a snag with the gym reservation. It's double booked with a sports tournament that day." The words crashed down on him like heavy rain. "What do we do? Is there another option?" His heart raced, trying to think ahead. "We might need to shift venues or even postpone." Jack felt a knot tighten in his stomach. Postponing was not an option. He thought of Lily, of the glint in her eyes, and the promise he had made. "No, we can't postpone. We need this to happen. Let us find somewhere new. We'll figure it out." Margaret hesitated but agreed, "All right. I can start looking, but it might take a few hours. Are you sure you're up for this?" "I am," he replied firmly. "Let us make every second count." As he ended the call, the chaos enveloped him. The initial excitement had morphed into a tidal wave of pressure, and he felt the weight of expectation on his shoulders. Jack took a deep breath, willing himself to push through. This was about more than just a fundraiser. It was about making a difference. He turned back toward the community center, knowing the committee would be hashing out details. There was still time to salvage everything. He'd need to rally their spirits and put a plan into action. Inside, the energy in the room had shifted. Faces that once sparkled with inspiration now bore frowns and furrowed brows. Jack felt an ache in his gut, sensing their discouragement. "Hey everyone, can I have your attention?" he called out, his tone urgent and confident. As he stepped into the circle, he held up his hands. "I just got off the phone with Margaret. We've hit a snag with the venue, but we can't let this stop us." Dick, a fellow committee member, frowned. "What do you suggest?" "We can't unbook the tournament. We'll regroup. Let us brainstorm alternatives. What other venues do we have in town?" Jack nodded to those seated, determined to keep the momentum moving. "Remember, we are not just planning an event, we are building something for our community and for these kids." Slowly, a glimmer of hope returned to the faces around the table. "The park could work," someone ventured. "We could set up stalls and an outdoor space for the art." "Yes. The park has plenty of room." Families will love the atmosphere, another voice chimed in. Enthusiasm began to rekindle. Jack felt it, the snap of collective energy pushing through the initial disappointment. He moved to the head of the table, energized. Let us make a list of what we need to pull this off, he urged. This is our moment to show what we can achieve together. As ideas bounced around, Jack felt lighter. They were sorting through obstacles, not letting them define the project's fate. He smiled at the renewed faces and the sound of laughter returning, the buzz of hope in the air. But even as he engaged with the team, an unsettling feeling crept back. What if this was just a temporary high? It wouldn't be long before they faced another challenge. Just then, Jack's phone buzzed again. He picked it up, and his heart sank. It was a news alert, a leaked article speculating about his plans, painting the fundraiser as a publicity stunt. The article's title screamed at him, echoing his worst fears. Jack felt the room spin as uncertainty washed over him. Could this backlash threaten everything they were working for? What would people believe now? He took a deep breath, bracing himself for the fight ahead. Because if there was one thing he now knew, it was that belief alone wasn't enough. Action was crucial. How could he turn this around before it spiraled out of control? Jack's hands trembled as he read the article's headline. The words blurred, but he forced himself to read on. It was a sensational piece, twisting facts and framing the fundraiser in the worst light possible. Did the writer even know the heart behind this event? What's wrong? Margaret's voice brought him back to reality. She looked concerned, her brow furrowed. Jack turned his phone away, not wanting to reveal the turmoil he was feeling. It's just some misleading article, he managed to say, masking his dread. He watched the other committee members as they discussed venue options enthusiastically. Their hopeful chatter was music to his ears, but the article was like a dark cloud looming over the gathering. He wanted to be there for them, for Lily, and for the cause he was fighting for, but the growing uncertainty nagged at him. After a moment of hesitation, he gathered his courage. Listen, everyone, I need to talk to you about something important. The room quieted, heads turning toward him. I just got a news alert about our event. It's not good, he said carefully. A murmur spread through the group. What do you mean? Someone asked. It's being portrayed as a publicity stunt, he continued, feeling the weight of disappointment hanging heavy in the air. We can't let this derail what we're trying to accomplish. Dick crossed his arms and raised an eyebrow. They don't know what we're doing, he said, a hint of frustration in his tone. We just have to show them. Exactly, Jack replied, a glimmer of hope igniting in his chest. But we need to be proactive. If we want to change the narrative, we need to take action right away. I want to organize a press conference to highlight why we're doing this fundraiser and who it will help. We can bring in Lily and the community. Show them. The committee exchanged glances, uncertain. Jack felt his heart race. We have to let people see the real impact, he urged, his voice rising with determination. We have a chance to share this with so many who may not know about the struggle. And we're doing it all for the kids. For Lily. Let us do it then, Margaret said, her voice full of resolve. If anyone knows the truth, it's us. We can rally everyone and flip this story. Jack nodded, heartened by her support. Great. We need to mobilize fast. Let us set some plans in motion. Who can help with the media outreach? Hands went up all around the table, a rush of voices offering to help in any way they could. The energy that had drained moments before had returned, filling the room with a vibrant spirit. But just as they hit their stride, another thought flickered through Jack's mind. What if the media didn't want the truth? What if they preferred a sensational angle? He shook his head, trying to dispel the doubt. They still had the momentum, and he refused to let fear rob them of that. Let us stay focused. Our message is clear. This is about the future of our community. As they broke into smaller groups to divide tasks, Jack felt a surge of optimism. Yet, even as excitement built, he couldn't shake that grim feeling hanging on the edges of his mind. The pressure was mounting, and he needed to watch every step, or risk everything falling apart. Just then, Jack's phone buzzed again, startling him. He glanced at the screen and froze. It was an unknown number, but the brief message preview made his heart skip. I know the truth about the article. You need to see this. Meet me at the diner at noon. What was this? Could this be a lead to turn things around? Jack's breath quickened. He had to find out who was behind this message and what they meant. There was no time to waste. He had a plan to execute and a mystery to solve. The stakes were higher than ever, and he couldn't afford to lose anyone, least of all Lily. He could feel that familiar surge of fear, loyalty, and determination. Would this lead unlock a way to protect everything he held dear? He had to know. The diner's neon sign flickered as Jack pulled up to the curb, his heart racing with anticipation. The bustling sound of clinking dishes and murmurs from the patrons inside mixed with the smell of bacon and coffee wafting through the open door. It was a world filled with the ordinary, while he felt all of it teetering on the edge of something extraordinary. He stepped inside, scanning the room until his eyes landed on a figure hunched over a corner booth. The stranger looked up, catching Jack's gaze, and the weighty expression on their face sent a chill down his spine. There was urgency in those eyes. Was it fear? Resolve? Or something else entirely? Jack approached slowly, unsure of what to expect. Are you? He hesitated, searching for a name. Are you the one who sent the message? Yes, the stranger said, pushing back a lock of hair as they gestured for him to sit. I'm Sam. Thanks for coming. The voice trembled, and Jack felt an instant connection. This person shared his urgency. What do you know about the article? Jack asked, leaning in. The diner was loud, but the noise faded to a dull roar as he focused entirely on Sam. It's not just a bad piece of reporting. Someone is pulling strings behind the scenes. I have proof, Sam said, pulling a folder from their bag and sliding it across the table. I couldn't sit by and watch them destroy a good cause. Jack opened the folder gingerly, revealing pages filled with printed emails and documents. His heart raced as he began sorting through them. He couldn't believe it. The links in these messages painted a startling picture, revealing that the article's writer had been fed information designed to skew public perception. Who would do this? Jack demanded, anger igniting within him at the very notion that someone would attack their cause so maliciously. Sam hesitated. I can't say for sure, but I do have a name. Someone connected to the fundraising committee, someone who stands to lose if this project succeeds. Jack's blood ran cold. What do you mean? This is about the children. Yes, but not everyone sees it that way. Some are concerned about the impact on their own interests, Sam replied, meeting his gaze with fierce determination. You need to act quickly. The press conference might be a perfect opportunity for them to sabotage everything. Jack clenched his fists. He was feeling a tidal wave of emotions: betrayal, fear, and a flicker of hope. What do we do? You need to confront the person behind this. But do it carefully, Sam advised. They'll deny everything, but if you have this information, you can turn it to your advantage at the conference. You can expose them. Jack nodded, the gears in his mind whirring with possibilities. He was ready to roll up his sleeves, to fight tooth and nail for Lily and the cause they championed. But doubt crept in again. What if confronting this person only fueled more negativity? Are you sure this is the right way to go about it? He asked, his voice low. Sam reached out and put a hand over his. If we don't take a stand now, we risk losing everything. I believe in what you're doing, Jack. Don't let anyone silence the truth. As Jack absorbed the weight of Sam's words, his mind filled with the faces of children like Lily. They needed this to succeed. They deserved a future. Okay, he said slowly. I'll do it. But as fire ignited in his belly, his phone buzzed once more. Before he could look, he sensed a feeling of dread rising up again. The stakes were climbing higher, and they were moments away from a confrontation. Sam interrupted, their voice soft but insistent. Be careful. Whoever is behind this won't go down without a fight. The words hung heavy in the air, as Jack grappled with the impending clash. Would he be able to navigate this storm? And what would it cost him? With his heart pounding and determination surging, he stood, glancing back at Sam. "I'll need your help." "Count me in," Sam said, their eyes steady and unwavering. As they stepped out into the bright sunlight, Jack's mind raced with plans and strategies, feeling both fear and excitement. Dance in tandem. How would the truth unfold? And would their efforts be enough to save Lily's future? The answer loomed ahead, waiting to be discovered. Jack felt the heat of the sun on his face as he and Sam stepped into the parking lot. The vibrant glow of the diner felt like a stark contrast to the storm brewing within him. He took a deep breath, trying to steady his nerves. The press conference loomed ahead, an event that could either catapult their cause to new heights or drown it in controversy. "What's the first step?" Sam asked, pulling out their phone to check the time. "We go to the conference early. I need to scope out the atmosphere, see who's involved. Gather intel." Jack clenched his jaw, his stomach tightening at the thought of confronting the enemy. "We're going to have to play this carefully." As they walked to Jack's car, Sam looked thoughtful. "Do you think they'll be there? Whoever is behind this?" Jack nodded slowly. They wouldn't miss a chance to sabotage the event. The drive to the venue was filled with silence, both of them lost in their thoughts. Jack gripped the steering wheel tightly, his mind flickering between the files Sam had shown him and the faces of the kids they were fighting for. When they arrived, the building stood tall and imposing, a sleek sign announcing the impending press conference. It buzzed with activity. Reporters were already setting up cameras while volunteers scrambled to organize pamphlets and seating. Jack's heart raced as he stepped out, adrenaline flooding his veins. "Remember," Sam whispered, "stay focused. This is about the kids." "Right," Jack muttered, and they moved into the crowd. They could hear snippets of conversations, excitement and apprehension vibed in the air. Jack recognized some familiar faces, local politicians and community leaders who had supported the project. But as he glanced around, he felt a stab of anxiety. What if none of it mattered? What if all their hard work was about to crumble? "Let us find that person," Sam said, scanning the crowd. "The one you think might be behind this. We need to know who we're dealing with." Jack nodded, determination seeping back into him. It was time to seek out the enemy. Just then, a voice interrupted his thoughts. "Jack! Is that you?" He turned and his stomach dropped. It was Mark, a prominent member of the fundraising committee, the very person he suspected might be involved in the sabotage. Mark wore a bright smile, but Jack could see the flicker of something else in his eyes, a hint of guardedness. "Hey, Mark! Didn't he expect to see you here?" Jack replied, forcing a casual tone. "Well, wouldn't he miss it for the world? It's for the kids, right?" Mark clapped Jack on the back, but there was something unsettling about his enthusiasm. Jack met Sam's eyes briefly, a silent conversation passing between them. They had their suspicions, but Mark was already walking them into uncharted waters. "Absolutely," Jack said, edging closer to the truth he was desperate to uncover. "What do you think about the press coverage so far?" Mark shrugged, his smile faltering just a bit. "I think some people are just out to make headlines, you know? Not everyone understands what this project means." The double entendre hung in the air, and Jack's heart raced. This was it. They were dancing on the edge of a revelation. "Right, like the recent article?" Mark's demeanor shifted. The tension was palpable as he glanced around. "Listen, some things are complicated. We all have our interests to protect. You get it." Before Jack could respond, Sam's phone buzzed, breaking the moment's tension. They lifted it, eyes widening. "Jack, look!" Sam pointed to the entrance, where a group of people were making their way through the crowd, their expressions serious. "That's them, the board members. If they're here now, we don't have much time." Jack felt his pulse quicken, the urgency slamming against him like an unexpected wave. They were walking into the heart of it all, and what he did next could alter the course of their fight. He glanced back at Mark, whose smile had vanished, leaving behind only confusion and a hint of dread. "Let us get ready," Jack whispered, steeling himself for the confrontation. As they stepped toward the group, uncertainty gnawed at him. Could they bring this malice into the light? And would it be enough to protect the future they were fighting for? The weight of destiny pressed down on him as he took a deep breath. The truth awaited, but would it be the weapon they needed or a double-edged sword? He squared his shoulders, ready for whatever came next. The moment of reckoning was at hand, and Jack knew one thing for sure: it was now or never. Jack pressed on, Sam beside him, both of them eager but wary. The board members stood in a tight huddle, their suits sharp and their expressions serious. It felt like they were wrapping up a covert operation, and here they were, Jack and Sam, mere shadows in a world that didn't want them there. "Stay cool," Sam murmured under his breath as they maneuvered through the throng. "You've got this." As they approached, one of the board members, a woman with steely gray hair and a reputation as tough as nails, caught sight of them. "Jack!" she called out, her voice slicing through the chatter. "We were just talking about you." Jack's heart sank. "Oh? All good things, I hope?" Her lips curled into a smile, too practiced, too careful. "We'll see. We've got a lot to discuss today." Sam nudged Jack. "Remember why we're here," she whispered. "Yeah, for the kids," Jack whispered back, but it felt far less powerful now in the face of this imposing presence. "Let us move to the side for a moment," the woman said, gesturing to a quieter corner away from the bustling crowd. Jack nodded, a knot tightening in his stomach as he followed her. Sam trailed close behind, their eyes scanning for threats, searching for allies. Once they were away from prying eyes, the air felt thick with tension. "What's your angle?" she asked, her expression unreadable. "You know something, don't you?" Jack clenched his fists. "We're here for the press conference, not the answer I was looking for. You're already a thorn in our side." He took a steadying breath, fighting the impulse to back down. "I'm trying to save this project. The backlash from the article was unfair, and you know it. Those kids deserve better." The woman raised an eyebrow. "You think you have the answers, Jack? It's not just about the kids. There are bigger players involved." "Bigger players?" Sam said, stepping forward. "You mean the ones trying to tear this down?" "Exactly," the woman replied, crossing her arms. "And if you want to play in this game, you need to understand the rules. People will do anything to protect their interests." Jack exchanged a glance with Sam, the weight of her words sinking in. "We're not backing down," he said firmly. "If you're invested in this project, then you should be standing with us, not against us." Her posture softened, just a fraction. "It's not that simple. If you expose the truth, you risk everything: your friends, your supporters." "And what if we do nothing?" Jack countered. "What if we let them win?" Silence stretched between them, heavy and charged. Jack could feel his heart racing, every word like a jolt of electricity in the air. "What's it going to be? We can either fight for these kids or watch everything we love burn down to ashes." The board member's eyes narrowed. "You've got fire, kid. But fire can burn you, too." "Maybe, but at least we'd be fighting for something worthwhile," Sam interjected. Just then, a loud crash echoed from the main hall, interrupting their charged moment. Jack felt the collective shock ripple through the crowd, people turning their heads, murmuring anxiously. "What was that?" Jack asked, anxiety rushing back. "That didn't just sound like a malfunction," the board member said, her eyes flicking toward the sound. "We need to check it out. Right now." Jack nodded, adrenaline flooding him again. "Let us go." As they hurried back toward the center, Jack felt a sense of urgency building inside him. Whatever had just happened, it could change everything. Were they about to uncover the truth behind the conflict? Or was this only the beginning of a much darker revelation? The air crackled as they pushed forward, and with every step, Jack knew the stakes had never been higher. But was he ready to confront whatever storm awaited them? Jack burst through the doorway as the chaos of the main hall unfolded before him. The scene was a tangle of startled faces and frantic whispers. People shuffled backward, forming a protective circle around a young girl, no more than 6 or 7, who sat amidst a spray of papers and debris. She clutched a crumpled stuffed animal to her chest, her wide eyes reflecting both fear and bewilderment. "What happened?" Jack demanded, his pulse racing, as he searched for Sam at his side. She stood just behind him, her expression a mix of concern and determination. The board member, still flanked by her suit-wearing colleagues, pushed her way to the front, her demeanor shifting from indifferent to severely focused. "Everyone, stay calm," she commanded, projecting authority. "We need to assess the situation." Jack stepped closer, kneeling down to the girl's level. "Hey there," he said gently, trying to soften the tension. "What's your name?" The child looked at him, her small hands trembling. "Maya," she whispered, her voice faint. "I wanted to see the big painting." Suddenly, Sam knelt beside Jack. "Did you fall from somewhere?" she asked, her voice soothing and kind. Jack admired how she spoke to Maya as if they were old friends. The girl shook her head, and instead of responding, her gaze flicked toward the back of the hall, a place filled with flickering shadows where a few attendees were hanging back, whispering among themselves, their eyes darting to the girl. "What painting were you talking about?" Jack pressed, hoping to keep her focused. The one with the kids and the sun," Maya replied. Then she pointed up to a grand mural that depicted children playing under a bright yellow sun, their faces full of joy. "It's my favorite. I just wanted to see it." Emotion choked Jack as he scanned the mural. There it was, a glimmering promise of what childhood should be, yet the reality was starkly different. Here stood a girl clinging to her stuffed animal, instead of playing freely, like the children portrayed on the wall. Before Jack could say anything further, the gray-haired board member stepped forward again, her voice edged with urgency. "We need to get her out of here. This isn't safe." Jack's heart raced as realization washed over him. "No, wait. What about her parents? We can't just leave her behind," he argued. He could feel the tension mounting in the air, the whispers rising like a swell of unmanageable waves. "I'll call for help," Sam said, looking back over her shoulder. Both determined and flustered, she pulled out her phone, tapping rapidly. Maya's eyes widened even more. "Don't go! I'm scared." Jack felt a pang of fear shoot through him. He turned to the board member. "You have to help her." "We're working in the best interests of the project," she replied, but her words felt hollow. "This is a public event." "There's nothing." "No," Jack interrupted, his voice raised. "She deserves to feel safe, and right now, she doesn't." A sudden hush fell over the crowd as other attendees began to notice them talking about this child. Some stood with arms crossed, uncertain how to react. Others whispered anxiously, glancing from Jack to Maya, and then it happened, the spark of change began to flicker. One by one, people began stepping forward, their protective instincts kicking in. Jack could hardly believe his eyes. This was not just about the kids' project anymore. It was about one little girl who symbolized their shared responsibility. "Let us figure this out as a team," a man said, stepping closer to join them. Others nodded, the energy in the air morphing from fear to resolve. Jack's eyes shone with unexpected hope. "Yes. We can't let her slip away." But would it be enough to turn the tide? As they formed a circle around Maya, a newfound sense of purpose unified their voices. Yet, deep inside, Jack felt the weight of secrets still splayed across the floor, ready to topple everything they were trying to protect. What would it take to fight against the shadows lurking in the corners? Could they save Maya and, in doing so, also rescue the project? The answer was hovering on the edge of understanding, but every second felt precious. Time was slipping away. The next move could define their fates. Would they become the heroes they needed to be, or was this just the calm before the storm? Jack tightened his grip on Maya's tiny hand, the warmth giving him strength as the crowd began to coalesce around them. People were stepping forward, faces shifting from doubt to determination. Whispers of camaraderie sparked, igniting flames of purpose in the air. "I'm not leaving until I know she's safe," Jack declared, his voice steady, cutting through the chaos. The crowd quieted, hanging on his every word. "This isn't just about a fundraiser anymore, it's about our responsibility to each other." Maya blinked up at him, sensing the tide turning. Would they protect her? The small girl brought a hand to her mouth, holding back the tremors of tears. Jack knelt lower, his eyes locked onto hers. "You're safe, Maya. We're all here for you." In that moment, another voice rang out, emboldened by Jack's bravery. A woman stepped forward, looking directly at the board member. "This child deserves better than to be left behind. We all have kids. This is our community." The words rolled like ripples through the crowd, a wave of shared agreement radiating from the heart of the gathering. Families began uniting, the collective realization lifting them up. The fear left Maya's face and was replaced by a flicker of hope. Jack felt the crowd rallying around them like an unstoppable wave. This was the moment he had been fighting for, not just for his redemption, not just for Lily, but for all the children who needed a strong community. The board member's demeanor shifted, her careful facade cracking. "All right," she relented, "let us get her some help. But we need to keep the momentum of the press conference moving on track." As if encouraged by her acquiescence, Sam joined in, her phone still in hand. "I'll call the media over. We need to show them what is happening here, that we stand united." Filled with fiery purpose, Jack straightened. "No, we will show them our commitment. We need to stand together, not just in words but in action." He turned to the crowd, sensing the growing energy around him. "Let us combine the press conference with our commitment to children like Maya. This isn't just a one-time thing. This is about creating lasting change." Cheers erupted from the crowd. People began to clap. At that moment, so many faces were transformed, the fear replaced with resolve. Jack felt his heart swell, a rush of gratitude flooding through him. It was more than just Maya. It was all the children, all the families, standing together. In a wave of unity, the gathering shifted from chaos to purpose. Volunteers began organizing supplies, while others worked to curate the messages about the project's goals. The energy in the air buzzed with potential, and above it all, Jack could feel the spirit of something bigger unfolding. The gray-haired board member, though still skeptical, had a look of cautious approval. "Let us do this." And so they did. As Jack took the stage alongside the board member, the press swarmed in, all capturing the scene unraveling before them, real-time humanity unfolding like petals opening in spring. "Today, we stand together," Jack spoke into the microphone, his voice stronger than ever. "We're not just fundraising for kids, we're pledging to support them, give them voices, and uplift them in their journeys." When he locked eyes with Maya again, she looked up at him, her wide eyes reflecting the sun's rays, a true beacon of hope. "Together, we can build a community that ensures no child has to touch the ground of despair," he continued, passion surging within him. "It starts today, with each and every one of you." Cheers, applause, and laughter erupted around him. The press captured it all: Jack's voice, their unity, the strength that resonated in that small corner of the hall. With the revitalized energy coursing through the gathering, they launched into discussions about the future, workshops, mentorship programs, and art exhibitions for kids. Jack felt himself smile, renewed with purpose and joy that had been absent for so long. The storms of sabotage faded into ash as light flooded the hall. When the interview requests tapered off, Jack turned back to the gathered community, his heart full, tears of gratitude shimmering in his eyes. The kid's mural sparkled in the backdrop, a sudden testament to what they were fighting for. It wasn't just one little girl whose dreams mattered, but all of them, all the children who deserved a chance to thrive. From the shadows he saw Lily, standing with her friends, pride illuminating her tiny frame. In that moment, Jack made a silent promise to fight for her, for all the kids with bright hopes and dreams. As the event concluded, they began to disperse, but the connections forged that day would last beyond a single fundraiser. Jack knew they had planted seeds of hope, and in the hearts of every child, they were blossoming. Together, they would weave a stronger community, a tapestry of support that would go on to ripple through generations. As Jack looked around, his heart soared, knowing they had kindled a fire that could thrive, and it wouldn't stop here. They had all learned that the real wealth lay in community, compassion, and collective action. And that was just the beginning. If you felt something igniting you from this story, then you need to subscribe now to the channel so you don't miss the next exclusive stories. This is the moment to show your support. Don't wait not even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this heartwarming transformation. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm and remember to comment below your reactions and feelings about this powerful ending.